欢迎收看现场面对面，我是主持人马健。我们今天有一个很特别的来宾，是我们这一届的休斯顿市长候选人 Marty McVey. How you doing, Marty?
Good, Jimmy. Thanks for having me on your show.
Marty 今年要竞选市长，但是他在休斯顿已经20多年，也耕耘了很久。我们先请这个 Marty 介绍一下他的背景，让我们的这个投票的这个民众能够知道他带来什么过去的经验，能够服务我们市民。We want to ask you a little bit to show our voters a little bit about what you've done before you became a candidate for mayor.
Well, thank you. And again, I appreciate being on your show today. I am a business leader. I am president of a private equity investment firm here in Houston that I founded. And our firm has primarily invested in real estate, healthcare, and energy ventures here in Houston and around the world. We have also invested in financial institutions. I'll give you an example, Bank of America. During 2008 economic crisis, we invested heavily in Bank of America. So I've been very fortunate to take a lot from the city, and it's been very giving. And I want to make sure that I give back. And my business expertise, I think, will help the city out a great deal.
Great, Marty. 所以我们市长候选人 Marty 说呢，他这个过去的背景也很特别，他是自己创立了一个私募基金，主要投资的这个项目呢，包括了房地产，包括这个 Green Energy， 就是我们这个环保的新的能源，以及包括我们这个医疗产业，就是 Healthcare。那因为他有私募基金自己这个商业的这个领袖的这个背景，所以他能够了解到一个市政跟这个 budget， 就是这个经济上要怎么去控制这个数字所以他带来的这个背景呢是很适合能够去竞选市长，也会适合带领一个城市走到这个国际观，因为我们休斯顿是一个很国际的城市。Now, Marty, you also had a very important role 4 years ago. You were appointed by President Obama to lead USAID. Could you tell us a little bit about what you did, and what does USAID stand for?
Certainly. That was one of the greatest achievements of my life when I was asked by the President of the United States to be a Board of Directors member for the United States Agency for International Development. I was very honored and pleased, and of course I told the President, yes, I'll be glad to serve. But the United States Agency for International Development is the chief primary investment agency of the United States. And we invest in democracy building, infrastructure, building trade partners, education, healthcare, agriculture, and developing nations around the world. What we get in return for that, the American people get is trade partners. We get goodwill around the world. We also respond to natural and man-made disasters, conflict areas. One of the countries that I've frequently visited is Nepal, and it was very instrumental in aid efforts in Nepal recently.
Thank you, Marty. That is a very important role, and it's a huge responsibility. But that also helps with your global view. By being able to participate and travel and lead USA, you're able to see how important it is and how important a role that Houston can play in the future in this global economy.
Certainly.
Marty 这个过去这个很重要的一份工作呢，是2011年由我们奥巴马总统任命他代表美国是 USA， 就是美国国际救援基金。那他不只是救援，他也是投资低收入的国家、第三世界的国家，投资他们包括了医疗，包括了这个帮他们发展他们的经济体系，以及帮助他们能够从第三世界走入这个平均的水准。那过去最近这个尼泊尔大地震，在新闻头条上我们也知道他们需要很多的援助。那 Marty 对尼泊尔是非常的熟悉，他去过印度和尼泊尔非常多次，因为这样的经验呢，能让他也更能够了解我们国际移民少数民族所需要的一些条件，能够才能公平的竞争。Marty, I was just telling our audience that because of USA, because of the fact that you traveled to Southeast Asia, to India, and to Nepal so many times, you definitely understand a little bit more about the plight of immigrants, about second generation or first generation Houstonians that came from somewhere else to make it here in this great city, and that you know what tools is necessary for you to provide to help them.
That's right. And I think it's more than just a little bit. I've seen the benefits of economic development and how it can lift people out of poverty, out of conflict situations. The reality is that most of the world lives on less than $2 a day. And we're very fortunate in this country to be able to have the resources that we have. But it's only good enough if we're trading with other countries. Every country is in development. It's just what stage are they in. So I've seen countries where their infrastructure is the poorest of the poor in the world. I've been to many countries such as Haiti, Libya, after the fall of the regime there. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're always progressing. So I've seen infrastructure in some countries that are better than what we have here on the streets of Houston. So we can always be improving, and we always need to be developing.
You bring dreams, the hopes of achieving the American dream to folks that are here, but also to everywhere else in the world, to let them have a chance to make it. The key is to give them the tools, to give them an opportunity to be able to make it. And that's admirable. Speaking of not just USAID, you're also very big in philanthropy and charitable works. You've done so much for the community. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've done?
Certainly, and I want to just touch base on what you said right now about opportunity. You know, I came to this city for opportunity, just like many of your viewers. Opportunity brings people to a city, and opportunity can take them away. And I want to make sure that everyone has the same opportunities that I had when I came to this city, that the playing field is level, that it doesn't matter who your family are, you know, where you came from, that you have the same opportunity. As far as philanthropy is concerned, I get a tremendous amount of joy from being able to give back. It's my parents instilled in me and my siblings that it's a duty to give back to our community, but I've found over the years great joy in doing that and helping others, and it's always come back to me manyfold.
Marty 不止 ，Thank you Marty。Marty 他不只是这个本身这个在这个商业上呢，他这个经营的很成功，也对这个政府上、对美国、对外在国际上的救援，他自己本身对很多这个慈善的这个基金，自己也付出跟奉献很多，因为他从小就知道这个社会要公平。那他这个竞选也是一样，因为他能够了解到我们这个移民哈，不管是旧老移民还是新移民，他了解到这个我们一定要有公平竞争的这个平台，不能说是因为你先来或在这边久，或是你认识谁，你就有比较好的优惠，而应该是大家都是一样的，这就是美国是建立在这个民主与公平的这个平台上。另外呢 ，Marty 也是希望说，他看到这些比较贫困的国家，像当年到海地或是到非洲去的时候，他也看到了这个给普通人民的这个一个希望，也一定要给他们机会，只要给他们个机会，他们就能够达到他们的目标。但是当你一个人没有希望，没有任何的这个方法，能够走出这个贫穷或走出这个灾难之中的话呢，是根本没有办法去公平竞争的。所以Marty 是希望能够以公平。带给公平，也带给机会跟希望给休斯顿的市民。Marty, we also want to talk about, very importantly, is the problems you see in Houston and what you could do as mayor to fix it for us. 我们希望 Marty 能够可以告诉我们，他竞选市长，他最重要觉得休斯顿的问题是什么？他怎么去解决这个问题 ？What solution could you bring for us?
Sure. Well, I see that I've simplified what I believe to be the two mandates that any mayor should have, and it's what I will carry into the mayor's office. One is to protect Houstonians, and the other is to protect the interests of Houstonians. So I have to look at a very wide spectrum of problems and solutions for Houstonians. I'll give you one example, economic development. That's at the forefront of my plan for the city of Houston. And the city of Houston really doesn't have a plan. But economic development means good jobs. It means bringing diversified industries to our city. We cannot continue to rely on the oil field for our prosperity. We must look into other alternative industries to come to the city, like manufacturing, technology, and primarily to relocate on the east side of town where the lowest tax base exists. So we need to go after federal and state grants that are available to us. We need to have a real economic development office that reports directly to the mayor. The other two main issues that I see, of course, are infrastructure and mobility. We need to improve our streets. We need to have unified mass transit. We need planes, trains, and automobiles to make it work. And it needs to be able to get people from one point to another efficiently, safely, and quickly. And then, of course, the other thing is public safety. We need more police officers on the streets, but those police officers and the existing officers in HPD, we need more training, more community-oriented policing.
Marty, we're going to come back, we're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back, go in depth about each of these issues who are all very important to us currently for Houstonians. 我们现在进入广告，我们回来之后，我们会再继续跟我们的市长候选人 Marty McVey 讨论他这个对于休斯顿现在的市政问题的这个解决方式。欢迎继续收看现场面对面，我是你的主持人马健。我们今天有市长候选人 Marty McVey 在我们摄影棚跟我们谈话，让我们的选民跟我们市民知道他如果竞选市长，那他的理想跟理念是什么。在这个广告之前呢 ，Marty 有提到他为什么要出来竞选市长。一，他是觉得他要保护与保障我们休斯顿市民的权利。二，很重要就是因为他常常代表美国到中东、到亚洲、到非洲、到别的国家，所以他了解到这个经济发展的重要性。他想要把好的这个企业介绍到休斯顿，然后也要能够提供很好的这个职位。这样子，我们这个tax base， 我们的收税也会提高，因为大家收入会变高，付的税也会高，大家都能够得益。另外就是说，它要带来的这个产业呢，是不光是石油产业，因为我们休斯顿过去一直都太依赖这个 oil and gas 石油产业，它想要带一些比较分散的，比如说这个生产业啊，或是重金属，就是不同的产业能够分散这个风险。也会带不同的技术，能够提供不同技术的这个背景的人有不同的工作。另外呢，就是 Marty 呢，他也知道说，我们休斯顿跟我们这个联邦跟这个 State of Texas 跟这个州都有很多这个州与联邦的这个投资项目，就是由联邦政府付钱出来，或是由州政府付钱出来投资我们这个城市。所以 Marty 希望能够多增加这个联邦与州政府的这个投资来我们休斯顿。还有一点很重要，就是 Marty 自己也提到了，说我们这个路上这个路况的问题，尤其在我们这个西南区，在中国城附近，我们这个路况常常有很多问题。最近几年，因为有我们这个很多华裔的帮助，所以把本类刚修好，但是还是有很多副路是需要帮助的。So Marty, I was telling our audience quite a bit of your goals as mayor.
Sure.
But it came down to the fact that you do want to improve the streets because just in Southwest Houston alone, we know that some of the main streets are done pretty well now, but a lot of side streets are still full of potholes. It's actually a hazard, like you said, to drivers.
Sure, certainly. And it's, you know, the city maintenance has been deferred for many years, and it's really because the city doesn't have the funds to do that. So that's why I come back to economic development. That brings prosperity. It brings many things to people. It raises people out of poverty. It fixes potholes. It equips our police officers and firefighters with the tools that they need to do the job that they need to do. So we have to balance the budget. We have to look for new payers into the system, into the tax system, because so much of the city of Houston is really an economic donut. We're inside of an economic donut that the tax base is outside of the city. So people that utilize and businesses that utilize the city services, there's a large percentage that are not paying into the system. So we need to fix the potholes and we need to fix pensions. And those are management issues, but we need vision to bring more revenue to the city to pay for those things.
I definitely see your point because it is important. I was just telling our audience in Mandarin Chinese that in order to improve city services, to fix the potholes, we have to increase the tax base. To increase tax base, you have to attract better paying jobs. To do that, you have to have the right vision and leadership to bring in corporations that are diversified, that are not just based oil and gas, and to provide everyone to have an equal opportunity to have decent paying jobs. And like you said, fixing the pension issues, because of your background in private equity, you understand that time management, money management is essential to the health of the economy.
Certainly. And I just want to make clear to your viewers that I am not advocating an increase in tax to the individuals or to businesses here in the city of Houston. What I'm advocating for are more payers into the system. And as mayor of the city of Houston, I need to go out internationally and bring new businesses to the city that will contribute to the benefit of our city.
That's the key. Let me clarify this.
Right.
我们要跟我们观众讲清楚哈。我们说 increase tax base 呢，就是我们增加这个税务，不是增加一个人的税务，增加我们多数人，就是人多一点来付这个税。如果你有好的企业，你有多的这个工作机会，那你整个这个付税的人就会变多。那每个人的税甚至可以减少。As a matter of fact, if you increase the people that have high-paying jobs that pays taxes, individually the burden is actually lower because you have more people paying into the pool. And it will increase city services. Am I right? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely, that's right. And the city is basically a business, in particular this city versus other cities around the United States. And it's a service business.
That's right.
So the city provides police, fire services, garbage services, all types of things. But at the end of the day, we're a service business. And the more people that are paying into the system, where it's fair and not a burden on a few to pay for those services, is where we need to go.
Marty 讲的真的是他这个分析这个市政啊，就是身为一个市政府的领导人，一个市长，他了解他代理的其实是像一个企业一样，因为这个市政府是来服务人民的，就包括警察，包括这个救火。包括这个来收垃圾，或者包括这个修路，这都是一种服务。那如果你的这个付给这个市政府这个税收越多，人越多，那你服务就能增加。但是 Marty 也了解，这是很重要，要公平，不能说有少数的人来负担大部分的这个承担这个税收的问题，因为很多人是不住在休斯顿的，很多是住在附近的这个市郊，那但是他们还是会用到这个我们休斯顿市的这个 resource， 就休斯顿市市政府提供的服务。所以呢，要怎么样才能够再吸引更多的企业来休斯顿，是他面临的挑战，也是 Marty 希望能够做到的。Now, speaking of bringing more business, international business too, into Houston, what have you seen in your travels to understand why this global outlook, international city, the diversity, why is it so important to Houston?
Well, Houston is an international city, and no one can deny that. As a citizen here in Houston, I've seen that the world has come to Houston. As an international businessman and travel around the world for USAID and for my private businesses, I realize that it's time for Houston to come to the world. We need to reverse the trajectory, and we have all the tools that we need to be a leading economy in this century. We've got great ports, we've got great airports, we've got a good workforce here, we've got good landmass. We're right on the Gulf of Mexico. We have the world's largest medical center right here. So we have all the tools that we need to recruit new businesses, diversified businesses to the city.
Marty 刚刚讲的哈，真的是能够提出来休斯顿的所有的优点。我们除了临海以外，我们有全美国数一数二的最大的港口，我们有2个大机场，我们有很多的这个地能够去盖任何的工厂啊或任何的产业，我们有这个全美国最大的医疗中心，我们有很好的这个学校。然后我们有很 qualified， 就是非常适任的这个人选能够去申请好的工作。 所以 Marty 希望能够是反转过去的，就是我们的人才外流。我们不能说一直去投资别的国家，我们是希望说我们能够把 Houston 推出去，让这个国际上能知道我们休斯顿本身地节人灵能够是一个成长的机会，所以我们希望有更多的企业能够来这里。Marty, it's interesting to me that the way you grew up, you grew up. What kind of family did you grow up in?
My dad was a former police officer who worked his way through school and became a judge later. And my mother was an entrepreneur and a jeweler by trade. Very close-knit family. And I think growing up in that environment, we get the best of both worlds. We get public service, which my dad was, and entrepreneur, which what my mother was. They really put a very strong sense of value in giving back to our community. Anything that we receive, we're just need to give back and do what we can for our community. That has come back to me many, many times. And again, as I said earlier, I get great joy in giving back to my community. And that's why I'm willing to trade my private life for a very public life. And it's not for anything other than to be a public servant. So I'm running for mayor to be a public servant and not a politician.
That is the key word, like you said. Earlier you mentioned that the city provides services. You're here to provide a service. As mayor, you're leading the effort to provide service for Houstonians. You're not here, you don't need this position because you are already very successful in your private endeavors. You've already had a track record of success. But by running for office, you're giving up your private life. You're also giving more to the city of Houston. And that is something that your parents, your grandparents instilled. Let me tell our audience what you just, it's very important for them to know that. Marty 他这个背景也很特别，就是他能够了解到我们移民跟我们这个自己做生意的这个 business owner 的这个心情，因为他爸爸呢是在大学自己打工，自己自费念完大学以后成了这个警察，警察做了很多年之后呢，出来做了这个法官 judge。那他妈妈呢？是自己做生意，做珠宝，自己做手工做珠宝，然后慢慢一点点的做起来。所以他能够了解到这个 public service，就是因为从爸爸这边他学习到了怎么去服务人民，去能够回馈于社会。从他妈妈这边呢，他能够了解到，这个做生意的难处，要怎么样从自己一个小生意，怎么样去这个能够去达到成功的目的。就像我们很多这个华人的这个观众一样，是靠自己移民来美国，要靠自己做生意才能够成功。另外，他的Marty, you mentioned that your grandparents are both farmers.
Yes, yes.
Wow,
my mother's father was a tobacco farmer, and my dad's father was a farmer and a furniture maker. Both very popular in their respective towns, and I got a lot of good values growing up in an area where I spent on my grandfather's farm. It taught me hard work, and that there is good reward for hard work and helping out your neighbors. And I often saw both of my grandfathers helping out their neighbors when they were short on their crops, and my grandparents were flourishing. They would always lend a hand, and it came back to them the same when they needed it. So it's a great deal of family values and community values growing up in that environment.
Marty 他这个背景，除了他父母很特别以外，他的这个祖父母，他两边的祖父母都是这个农夫哦，真的是农夫，他们是种那个烟草叶，那的叶子种烟草。那另外一边呢，他们除了是农夫以外，他们自己是做这个家具的，所以说实话是很 blue collar 蓝领的阶级，所以他能够了解到这个从一个这个用手。付出体力的劳工的辛苦，然后慢慢的过了这2、3代，他能够达到他现在，也是因为他这个跟他家庭非常的紧，很 tight knit family， 他很注重这个家庭的生活，也知道这个家人的重要性，所以呢，他的这个是一个很注重家庭传统伦理的一个人。We talked about how important family values are to you. And it is important to a lot of our viewers as immigrants. Most of us have a tight-knit family because you didn't have any other choices. Right. But you understand that, from both sides to give back. Your grandparents were blue-collar, they used their hands. You know how using your own labor to achieve what you want. And it took 2 or 3 generations for you to be able to get to where you are. And it is still an American dream, basically. You're achieving an American dream. And you didn't come from a political dynasty or family. Everything you have today, you made it on your own.
That's right.
Marty 今天所有达到成就是靠自己达到的，这点很重要。就跟我们的移民社会一样，就是他并没有任何的背景，而且他的家也不在休斯顿，他是1994年来到休斯顿，来休斯21年，完全靠他自己达到。Marty 是我们这次市长这个竞选最年轻的一位 ，Marty 今年才41岁，他在很短的这时间就达到了很大的成就。We just told our viewers that everything you have, you made it on your own. That you came to Houston in '94 by yourself, without any relatives, any connections here. Everything you have, you made it. You achieved it yourself. And on top of that, you're also the youngest candidate in this year's race.
Right.
You're 41 years old.
That's right.
And you've done a lot for someone in a very short time span.
Well, I like to think so. I believe that we never stop creating, we never stop moving forward, and I've been very fortunate, and this city has provided so much to me, just like it's provided so much to your viewers. As I said earlier, opportunity is what brings people to Houston, and that same opportunity can take them away. So I want to make sure that every Houstonian has the same opportunities that I had when I came to this city. And that takes work. It doesn't happen on its own, but we have to have a forward-thinking leader that is always looking, not just for the next 6 years as mayor, but for the next 60 years.
Marty 现在说他竞选市长，他需要的是他以他的领导的才能，他想看到的不只是未来这6年这个市长任内，他是想为休斯顿市铺好路，未来的60年、100年，能够让我们的下一代跟我们的再下一代能够有更好的未来。You're planting the seeds for not just us, but for our next generation, for generations to come. Marty, I truly appreciate you for coming to the show. Jimmy. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Jimmy.
我们非常谢谢 Marty 来到我们现场面对面与我们市民见面，希望下次再收看，谢谢各位。